Today's video is in response to a viewer request. We're going to take a look at the Uncle Henry Bowie knife combo. Coming up on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. So I get quite a few requests to review this knife or that knife or whatever, and you know, when I can, I try to honor those requests. And today is an opportunity to do exactly that. So not too long ago, I had a request from a viewer to take a look at the Uncle Henry UH-COM 3CP, and basically, as you can see, it is a combo set with a piggyback built sheath that carries both knives at one time. So the folks at Schrade, Uncle Henry, were kind enough to send me this so I could show it to you in response to this request. And without a bunch of further rambling, let's take you down to the stump top. We'll talk about the specs on these things, and then we'll get to doing some of that Bowie knife stuff. Is it Bowie or Bowie? Okay, once again, this is the Uncle Henry UH-COM 3CP 2-piece full tang Bowie knife combo, featuring blades of 7CR MOV high carbon stainless steel with Stag handles and nickel silver guards and pommels. The big knife features an 8 1/4 inch blade, or 21 centimeters, or 13 inches overall length of 33 centimeters. And the smaller knife features a 3 1/8 inch blade, which is about 15 centimeters, with an overall length of 8 7/8 inches, or 22.5 centimeters. These knives come with a brown leather piggyback belt sheath. The street price on this set on Amazon is about $82. Okay, so that is some of the specs and details of these two Bowie knives. Let's just decide this right now. I'm gonna call them Bowie knives. I don't know if that's right or not. So these two Bowie knives from Schrade, that's the specs and details. Now, let's just talk about a couple things right off the bat. First of all, you will notice these are, as Schrade loves to do, sort of recurves. The larger blade is slightly recurved, and the smaller blade is definitely more pronounced of a recurve. But there's no doubt these are Bowie styled knives. They have a pretty much like most of Schrade's knives, a hollow grind, and one thing you'll notice is there's no coating on these, which is pretty traditional. And another thing which I noticed was a little bit different is the instead of it being a through bolster, like a lot of times was where the tang would come like right here and goes through this, these are actually mounted on it. This tang goes, this blade and tang is one piece of steel that's got the cutouts for the guard on it. So, you know, I like the guard there, especially on a Bowie style knife. I just think that's very traditional. These Stag handles, which are basically synthetic something or other, they're plastic for lack of a better term. They've been around a long time. They're used on a lot of different brand knives, and it just gives it a traditional look with a more economical material, I guess. Let's talk about the sheath a little bit. It's just a plain, simple leather sheath with snap retention here and snap retention here. Now, here's what I've found. I found that if you put the small one in first, it works a lot better, because if you try, the small one's kind of tight. It's got that belly on it, and you just got to get it lined up right in there when you go in, and it goes in pretty simply then. It's kind of, you know, this strap here kind of gets in the way a little bit, and you put it in there, and then you can snap this. All right, and then you can put the big one in. I found it's easier just to kind of pull this back out of the way, and the big one goes in pretty well. But again, you got to make sure you got it lined up, because there's points. So you snap it up here like so, and you got it all together. And it's about 1.5 pounds, a little bit more than a pound and a half of total weight here, and with a nice big belt loop on it. The sheath is actually very well made, like all those leather sheaths I've seen from Schrade lately. It's got a full welt in it. Everything is secured with brads when it needs to be at all the tension points, in addition to the stitching. And you know, that's the combo right there. So, but I do think that you see how I've got it with the big one in, trying to pull this out, and it's tight because of the tension. It'll probably loosen up over time, but you're going to take a chance on cutting your leather here also. So those are the kind of like the things I think you really need to pay attention to and be aware of. If you're trying to put it back in, you got to really watch these straps. They kind of get in the way, but it is doable. It went back in there, as you can see. Hopefully that was in camera. But that's kind of the way this thing fits in the sheath and all that. My initial thoughts. As you can see, I've not used these. We're going to try these out for the first time together. So let's take it down to the stump top and see how well it does some of that knife stuff. I got the old thermocell cooking here, by the way, because mosquitoes are out. Well, let's take the small one out and just see. This really these handles are I can get my whole hand on it, as you can see, but barely, and it's kind of cramped, but it's there. And I think you know, if you're trying to reach over and do some fine work like here, that gets in your way just a little bit. But we're just going to try and see how well this thing does some feathers, because it's got a pretty good little edge on it. They do a really good job on these hollow grinds at Schrade. I really think they do. Oh, by the way, I keep saying Schrade. It's Uncle Henry, but it is a Schrade brand. Taylor Brands is the parent company. It's not too shabby right there. Now, I think if you needed to use this for a skinner or something like that, this could be good. I think that's kind of the premise behind it, that you got a larger knife for the heavier work and a smaller knife for the finer work. A lot of people are not going to like the recurve. It doesn't bother me. I like it just fine. I'm used to recurves. I think they actually have some advantages in some ways over straight blades. They just seem like that belly, you can really get in there and work it. So, okay, I almost forgot. And get this out of here. So let's just see if this thing will strike a ferro rod. Oh yeah. Finally. But I was able to strike it here and here. So, I mean, that was fine. It struck fine. This is just the wood's kind of hard to get going. So, it did okay on that. Let's take a look at the big brother. Let's start out with a little chopping here. Let's just chop on this and see what happens. Let's see if we can break it. So, maybe a little batoning is in order here. It is a full tang knife. A big one, too. All right, now we got it down small. We can do a little bit of time with a small one just for the heck of it. Why not, right? So, let's try some feathers with this one. The old big one. Let's try this side here. Get that out of the way. The edge up here is less than optimal. At least I'm not able to get as good a control with it. But it's probably the control thing. So we'll try the old technique B here. I'm using my left hand. My left hand, I'm not really that good at my left hand, obviously. We'll turn around and see if I can do anything. A lot of people say that's a great technique. I know John with the Wingman 115 does a great job at it. Me, that's not my strong point, so we'll get back over here. I'm better freehanding it. Let's try this. All right, I gotta say, of the two, at least the set I have, the smaller one has a much better edge. It just seems to be a lot sharper and finer. But let's just see if in a pinch, if this one will strike a ferro rod. Although if you got both of them in here, then you're probably going to want to use this one for your fine task. But it, it definitely strikes a ferro rod. Okay, so we did some chopping, some batoning, some feather sticking, some fire starting, all very basic knife tests. There's one other test I think which is pretty much an industry standard, needs to be performed on any knives, especially ones of such variable size as this, and that's a balance test. We are fortunate enough here at Survival on Purpose to have a state-of-the-art balance testing facility, so let's get to it. Okay, so that's some of the highly advanced technical testing of the Strayed Uncle Henry combo Bowie set here, and I do see the value in having two knives, a combo kit, piggyback together, one on top of the other. And you know, this knife does some pretty heavy duty stuff. It's a big knife, you can do a lot with it. You can chop with it if you need to, baton with it, do that big knife stuff, and then you got the small knife here for doing finer tasks and details. And it definitely looks cool, and it's definitely balanced. So once again, thanks to the folks at Strayed for sending me this so I can show it to you and to answer that viewer request. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing, for clicking that thumbs up, for sharing this video with lots and lots of folks. And thank you so much for doing your Amazon shopping through the Survival on Purpose links. I really appreciate the support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. See you next time. Because who doesn't like a Bowie knife? All right, well, I'm sending crap flying all over the place. Looks like a fireworks display out here. And the problem with testing them both at the same time is you have to vary the calibration distance because of the size. So. I dropped it. A really hard use. I don't know what that was. Bowie? Which one is it?